What's up, baseball players? Dan Blewett here, and I'm joined by Coach Andrew Sachs from Prime Sports Performance here in Baltimore, and he is going to teach you one of his 3-step progressions, great for coaches, great for players, great for teams. You can use it before games, after games, off season, in season, whatever you need to improve your first step quickness. So what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to work on having a good lateral drive step off the back leg, having a good directional step with the front leg, and exploding off that front leg to get to second base as quickly as possible.
All right, so if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the button below and subscribe. Got lots of good baseball content coming from coaches and big baseball minds like Andrew. So stick around, we're going to go over this base running technique in a second.
The first drill that we're going to do is just getting into a good base stealing stance and getting a good drive step off of that back leg. We want to make sure we're not being lazy on that backside. We're initiating momentum going towards second base. So I'm going to get down into my base stealing stance. I'm not going to pull with this leg or reach with that leg. I'm going to drive with the back leg, just like that. So it's not a huge step. Again, I'm not reaching my foot out. I'm just going to get down and aggressively drive the middle of my foot through the ground without letting my knee drift forward or my heel come off the ground too early. So I'm just going to get down, think about trying to push the floor away from me through the middle of my back foot. For the next step, we're going to combine that back leg drive with what's called a directional step on the front leg. Now the reason why this works well is because it's going to put me in a good positive shin angle going towards second base. So if I'm trying to go into a sprint that way, it's going to take a long time for me to get way out over here, get to a positive shin angle, and then cross over. So if I pull my foot back a little bit under my center of gravity, now I've gone from a positive or from a negative shin angle to a positive shin angle almost immediately, and I can drive my body towards second base. So we're going to start off, I'll do it slow motion first. We're going to drive off with the back leg, lift this foot. So once my body is starting to move that way, my center of gravity is shifted, I want to get this foot kind of under my center of gravity and just kind of drive off. So the idea is we're just going to do one aggressive drive step off that front leg. So it's going to look like this in full speed. For the final drill, we're actually going to combine both those things we just did and kind of roll them into a full sprint into second base. So I'm getting my good lateral drive step off the back leg, combining that with my good directional step on that front side, getting a good positive shin angle, and then just going straight into a sprint, just like this. One thing to be aware of is you want to make sure you're not reaching this foot forward. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but by reaching this foot out, you actually put yourself into more of a negative angle, which is going to take a longer time to get to second base. By taking a quick step to reposition, you might be technically stepping backwards, but you're actually going to have a much more explosive first step. I found that the best way to use this drill series is to use it typically during the off season, obviously, or right before a game to try to ingrain good movement patterns in your base runners. So maybe you can do 3 or 4 rounds of 6 reps of the directional step and the lateral drive step, and then run maybe 3 or 4 full sprints before a game.